Shabbat Shalom. I hope and pray that you guys are incredibly encouraged. You really should be. I mean that. And especially at this time. And if you're not, I am very hopeful, even more than just a hope. I think that hope is mixed with faith, which creates more of an assurance of things that are hoped for. I have an absolute joyful expectation that if you are not hopeful, you are going to leave here today with a lot of hope. And that's a good thing. Want to say a couple of things up top. One, I always know when it's Pastor Billy's birthday because his birthday is the same day as my wife's birthday. So I don't know if I remember your birthday because it's hers or I remember hers because it's yours. Because we've been together now like 18 years, but happy 91st birthday, Billy. And we also have with us Captain Dr. Chip Hetzler. Will you please stand and... who was surgically putting people back together over in the Middle East. Very dangerous spot right now, a hot spot, but God protected him and brought him back safe and sound to his family. And we are honored to have him with us because I know him well, and he is an officer and a gentleman in every stretch of the imagination. Also, I'll be seeing Bernadette tonight. Haven't seen her for a while, so I guess if she has pizza waiting for me, I'm going to sock her. I can tell you this, but somebody gave me pizza-flavored goldfish for the plane trip, in case I'm missing the pizza. I made a statement last week that I need to correct. I don't know if I really felt this way. I think I felt this way. Or I don't know if it was just, trying to be humble. You can never go wrong with a couple of things, okay? There are a lot of voices speaking right now. And when I get back from a little time away, I'm going to give you a State of the Union message. And I wanted to think it through in my time off. I want to make sure I'm not saying anything that's not of God. Now, there are a lot of voices out there today, guys. Years ago, we had experts speaking. These are people that can only speak. Now we have everybody speaking because of the advent of the internet. And I know a lot of you are on the internet, and I'm not telling you not to go on the internet, but hear me for a minute. I just want to speak my heart. Years ago when I first got saved, I didn't know what to do. So I thought the thing to do would be to read books by Christian authors. And so I did. And I gobbled them up. And I found myself being marinated in what they were saying. And I was pretty convinced that everything they weren't saying was from up above. But I knew this was. So I gave up reading the books because I didn't want to be marinated in anything except God's Word. And that's where I parked myself for a long time. There are a lot of prophetic voices speaking on the internet. Some of what they're saying is accurate. A good amount of what they're saying is not. I would tell you, as the people in my care, and I take that seriously, people that I am responsible for spiritually, people that I have to answer to God for of everything I say, spend a lot of time in these last days in the red letters. Okay? And I don't mean Paul's letters. Paul obviously was an incredible man of God, maybe the best we've ever had. However, his letters are very hard to understand. He's kind of like a spirit-filled Shakespeare. And if you're unstable in the least bit, you're going to misunderstand. When Yeshua speaks, it is incredibly simplistic. You'll never have to scratch your head. So spend a lot of time in what he's saying. Be careful of who you're listening to, because hear me, and I've told you this many times, if you don't like what I'm saying or you don't agree with the bulk of my theology, it's not a good idea to listen to me, because you will be marinated. You just will be. There's no way around it. If you take a marinade and put it in a bowl and then throw some meat in the bowl and put it in the fridge, the meat can't fight the marinade. Okay? So I said something last week that I don't have a great track record with salvation except for overseas. Well, God has a funny way of working and correcting us like a loving father. And he really corrected me, not sternly. I don't feel a stern correction from God except unless I'm really off. And then he's very stern. This was not stern. I got home and I got a letter in my mailbox. And I opened it up and the letter went like this. Dear Rabbi, do you remember meeting my nephew? You spoke to him about the Lord on several occasions. He was coming here for a little bit. And you prayed for him. And your prayer was, Lord, encounter this young man. He was about 17 and a half years old, very wayward. And, I can't save you. You can't save anybody. You have to have a God encounter. Some people have never even had that. They've never experienced that. And that was my prayer. Well, the letter went on. She said, he did have that God encounter. He did give his life to the Lord. A week later, he died in a car accident. Okay. Then, right after I read that letter, I went down to the pool and I ran into a young lady who used to live in the development, and her father was very ornery man. Like as ornery as they come. Tough guy, pistol instructor for one of the police forces. And he met me, and sometimes, when you're a straight shooter, people that are ornery and straight shooters can relate to you. They can't relate to this is the day the Lord has made. Some people can relate to that, some can't. God uses different people with different people, right? So we developed a little bit of a friendship. He started coming here. He ended up giving his life. I led him to the Lord. And then just a few weeks later, he died of brain cancer. So I saw that girl, and that reminded me. And then this morning, I get a text from a good friend of mine, one of my best friends in Florida. She sent out a text to a few friends and said, I really feel, she's very, very spirit-filled and very attuned to the Spirit. I really feel like you guys, I don't know how many people sent it to, 3, 4, or 5, you need to watch the service this morning. You really need to watch the service this morning. And one lady wrote back, and it was so encouraging to me, I just got to tell you. She said, I remember him. He shared his testimony at St. James in Ormond Beach. This must have been 27 years ago, and he led me to the Lord. So I say this not to put a feather in my cap. God, forgive them if that's what they're thinking. I say that to say it never goes out and returns void. Okay? Don't ever. I want to apologize to the Lord and apologize to you. You never waste your time when you're sharing the words of God with people. Amen. Never. Okay. So, I'm encouraged, and everybody needs some encouragement, right? You might say, well, we need encouragement now more than ever. You always need encouragement. You really always do. But I understand what people are saying about the times we're living in right now. My soul is excited about the times we're living in right now. My soul hates status quo. My soul doesn't understand. Don't upset the apple cart. Don't rock the boat. Just let bygones be bygones. I'm going to tell you something right now. There is a cataclysmic difference between nice and kind. I should write a book, Jesus Was Not Nice. Because he wasn't. Nice people, they're extremely insecure, and they try to placate and manipulate people to like them, and they can't be confrontational because they just want to be liked. Kind people are spirit-filled, loving, compassionate people that will not compromise the truth. There is a huge difference. So, I'm probably never been called nice, right? I'm happy about that. Let's read a psalm and get on with the the message that we have at hand for this day. Show me favor, God, for people are trampling me down. All day they fight and press on me. Now, just know, I don't know if you know what's happening here in Psalm 56, but it's important to know what was happening in David's life. He was a prisoner of war in Gath at this point, and it wasn't good. And if you read this psalm, I think it's perfect for today. I really do, because it goes in waves. Waves of fear and faith. Fear and faith. Fear and faith. And I'm sure you can all relate. Those who are lying in wait for me would trample on me all day. For those fighting against me are many. His foes are arrogantly attacking him, constantly trying to hurt him, constantly. David's life was no bargain. You have no idea what he went through. Nobody sitting here will ever be able to compare with his life. No shot. Most High, when I am afraid, this is the great King David. He's saying he's afraid. For you to admit that you're not afraid is pretty silly. You can't get help unless you need it. Most High, when I am afraid, I put my trust in you. Faith always breaks through. God is more powerful than our enemies, man. If he's not, we're to be more pitied than all people. In God, I praise his word. You can't praise his word if you don't know his word. Just throwing that out there. In God, I trust. I have no fear. See what's happening? He just said he's afraid, and now he has no fear. It's amazing what the presence and the power of God can do. What can human power do to me? Now listen, I know it's going to get crazier. Guys, in Genesis 1 and 2, it was perfect. Okay? Man knew no good or no evil. Adam didn't even have a sin nature at that point. Then Genesis 3, sadly enough, we felt the temptation, and I say we because we inherited it, and things started to spiral down. In Genesis 3, it has continued to spiral. It has. And if you look at the first 3 chapters and the last 3 chapters of the Bible, they mirror image. Then Revelation 20, Yeshua shows up. That's when it starts to spiral up. It will not spiral up till he touches down. And then Revelation 21, 22, it's Eden again. It's perfect. Now we can say, if God is for me, who is against me? It's cute. You go to your Christian schools, it's cute. But I'll tell you what men could do to you. They could persecute you. They could imprison you. And they could kill you. It's happened to 62 million people. Okay? So men can do. But he's saying, what can human power do to me? Do you remember what Yeshua said in Matthew 10:28? Just make sure you understand this. Please. He said, don't fear the one who could kill the body. He told them specifically, they hated me, they're going to hate you. They pulled me out of the synagogue, they're going to pull you out. He told them, and it did happen, right? But he said, don't fear Satan, his demonic forces, or the evil people that follow suit. He says, but do fear. So he wasn't saying not to fear. He's saying our fear is, it's focused on the wrong object. He said, but fear the one who could take the body and the soul and cast it into Gehenna. Guys, if you don't see, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see clearly that God is shaking and quaking and trying to bring us back to a fear of God, which has left the building along with Elvis. There is no reverence anymore. All day long, they twist my words. Their only thought is to harm me. Can you imagine? Their only thought. It's all they think about all day long. They gather together and hide themselves, spying on my movements, hoping to kill me. It's tough. I don't think anybody could say this. Because of their crime, they cannot escape. In anger, God strike down the peoples. Now, that doesn't sound loving, but you know what? I pray that God strike down my enemies. You have kept count of my wanderings, stored my tears in your waterskin. Aren't they already recorded in your book? Then my enemies will turn back on the day when I call. This I know, that God is for me. This isn't something new in the book of Romans. This is from the beginning of time, God was for us. In God I praise his word. In Adonai, I praise his word. In God I trust. I have no fear. What can mere humans do to me? God, I have made my vows to you. I will fulfill them with thank offerings to you. For you rescued me from death. I mean, it's one thing to be rescued from physical death, but eternal death? David didn't understand that. This is 3,000 years ago. He's so excited to be rescued from physical death. How much more should we be excited to be rescued from eternal death? For you rescued me from death. That's why I worship him. That's why I don't worship people. You rescued me from death. I don't want to know about past and so-and-so. Oh, did you hear this? Did you hear this prophetic word? Let me tell you something about prophets. Prophets, legitimate prophets, speak for God. Yeshua spoke as God. It's a big difference. For you rescued me from death. You kept my feet from stumbling so that I can walk in God's presence in the light of life. Ultimately, guys, there is one question you got to ask yourself which matters in life. Everything else is secondary. Is God for us? And the answer is emphatically and rhetorically, absolutely he is. Father, you have proved yourself time and time and time again. Every single solitary person in this sanctuary and those watching at home are living epistles of your greatness and goodness and your love and your mercy and your grace, your long suffering, your patience. Yes, Father, every single one of us. Help us to remember all your past deliverances so we could look forward to the final Exodus when Yeshua appears on the Mount of Olives and the Kidron Valley splits half to the north and half to the south. And he walks through that golden gate and takes his rightful righteous throne. When righteousness and justice shall be the very foundations of his throne. My goodness. Father, thank you that we are one Shabbat closer. Thank you that we are one day closer. Thank you that even as I speak, we are 1 minute closer. Come, Lord Yeshua, come. It's in his name that I pray. Amen and Shabbat Shalom.